My name is Kelvis Dixon, and I'm 12 years old. Listen while we tell you this story about Goulds, Florida. Some 20 miles south of the city of Miami, Florida, and about 8 miles north of Homestead lies a little community called Goulds. It's a mostly black neighborhood with a down-home country flavor and a very rich history dating back to the early 1900s. Goulds was originally settled in 1903. Because of its extremely rich soil, the area was developed as a farming town and a loading stop along the Florida East Coast Railroad. The railroad depot was located near today's Southwest 216th Street, and the community was named after the railway operator Lyman Gould, who also cut trees for railroad ties. Featured on the list of registered historic places in Florida, Goulds' downtown area had a post office, a grocery store, and a hotel. The town that grew up around this area was called Goulds Siding and later just Goulds. Nowhere is the essence of Goulds more represented than in its people. Goulds, a town labeled by outsiders as another poor black neighborhood, but to those who have witnessed the town's growth through its 106-year-old history, this is home. It is home for successful businessmen and women, spiritual leaders and churches, students, and families. Families who in most cases have found church homes, such as the Grace of God Baptist Church, and established a place to lay down their burdens and recount the history of Goulds as they knew it.
You can all bow our heads. We're getting ready to start our service for this afternoon, for this morning. That they may hear a word and may help them out, oh Father, throughout the week, oh Father, to encourage them.
The young people of Goulds are beset with many of the issues and problems of today's youth. It is hoped that learning about the past endured by their forefathers can give them a sense of pride in themselves and their community, and allow them to feel the need to become leaders and achievers themselves, while setting positive examples for those that follow in their path.
Hi, my name is Triana Duran, and I would like to know what were some of the jobs you had back then when you were younger.
Some of the jobs were picking beans, pole beans, and tomatoes, potatoes, squash, and getting scratched up by them lime trees, but we had to do it because we were being trained up the way children should go. We were being trained to work. We had to learn. We had to learn how to make it, not beating up on nobody else, not stealing. We had to go to them fields and we had to pick them vegetables and get paid for it. And I mean, 50 cents a bushel, that was a lot of money. Especially if you can, 50 cents, if you can bring home $50 in one day. If you was a good bean picker, you had it made.
In Goulds was the only city down here that black and white lived on both sides of the railroad track. You didn't have no black town and white town. The white town was up near where the post office is. And the most black people lived all over Goulds.
I had to call Washington, D.C. where they could save maize and pound biller because they were finna take maize and pound biller from us.
Back during that time, your family was a very supportive family, very strong, very strict, very demanding. In fact, the neighborhood was your family. Even on your report cards, they had respect of authority, respect for others, courteous. You had citizenship. You had all of those things on your report card. What I would like to say for you all, to learn to be grateful for whatever you have. You go to school every day with young people that don't have a meal at night, don't have a place to sleep, lights are out. If you can't look down to pick somebody up, don't look down to push them down. Obama has made a change for all of us young people. Grab hold to that change.
We from Goulds Park. Rap about this history. Y'all ready to do this?
Yeah.
Kira, baby,
Let's talk
What is now Octor and Polly Mays Middle School has always been an important landmark in Goulds. Formerly a high school until court-ordered integration in the late 60s, Mays has been the educational and cultural seat of Goulds throughout the years. Many well-known citizens learned about citizenship and determination in the classrooms of Mays High. In fact, the Honorable Otis T. Wallace, the sixth-term mayor of Florida City, is a Mays High graduate whose story speaks of a darker time and era from which the community has risen.
At the first stage of integration, Southdade High School was integrated, and we were the first black kids going to Southdade High. Southdade was steeped in this rebel tradition, rebel flags all over the place, and I was a musician, and the first thing I was faced with, if I wanted to be in the band, I had to wear a rebel uniform, literally. Tubas had rebel flags all over the mouth of the openings of the tuba, and it was just not conducive to I didn't think I should have to do that just to be a musician. It ended up that we fought these things, went to the school board, protested the rebel paraphernalia, insignia, and all that stuff, and eventually the school board did away with those things. But during my time, they didn't do away with it. They said, well, we'll allow you to go to Mays, which was up in Goulds, and we were welcomed with open arms at Mays. And though I had been told what an inferior education we were receiving at the black or African American high schools, I go to Mays and I find a bunch of loving, caring teachers who pushed us to our limits, who insisted that we do be the best that we can be. And I think one of the best things that ever happened to me, actually, was to have the opportunity to go to a school where the teachers actually cared about me. We might have had old books, but boy, we got everything there was to get out of them. And I cherish the experience I had at Mays High School. I'm proud to have been part of the last graduating class there. The kids today have unlimited opportunities. I think we can honestly look them in the face and say you can be whatever you want to be. We just elected the first black president. And one of the things that was interesting, my son came up to me and said, Dad, you always told me that with hard work I could be anything I wanted to be, but I never really believed that. He said, but after President Obama was elected, he came to me and said, I now believe I can be anything I want to be. So that's just a very powerful message of what kids have before them today and the opportunities that are bound for them. But locally, I think it's important that they know their history. With what black folk have gone through in Goulds, Southdade area, one message is clear. If we can survive under those circumstances and prosper and excel, then young people have no excuse whatever for not being the best that they can be.
As in all black communities, the church has always played an important role in the lives of the residents of Goulds. From the historical Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church to the newer progressive churches like Grace of God Baptist Church, with its future expansion into an 8,000 square foot facility including a large planned Miami-Dade County Charter School, Goulds churches help to civilize the movement from the old to the new.
That should tell you the significance of children. The Bible says that they are a heritage to their father, and they are like arrowheads to a soldier. He took something so, and this is to the kids in the house, don't let anybody think because of your age that you don't have what it takes to do what God has called you to do. Because wherever God is, there is power. And wherever His Spirit is, there is liberty.
The history of Goulds is a very special one because it is one of the predominantly black communities in the Southdade area that has held out in spite of all of the racism and the things that went on around this area. The values that we received, the moral values that our parents instilled in us, helped us to grow up to be decent young men and women in this society, and especially in the Goulds area of today. One of the issues that keep us back is that we give up too easy. We have to learn to hold on and to hold out if we're going to make it in society. If you want your children and your children's children to be better than what you are, then you've got to make those sacrifices so that they can see that the positiveness in you will help them to get to where they need to be.
Where we from, we got Southwest, Pravilla, and Mays. We got New Homes, BC, and CC, what I say. We from that Gouds, down south, what I say. But from the city, can't forget, I love it all the way. We got our first black president, Barack Obama. Uncle, this one Martin King said when he had a dream. He ain't want no drama, he wanted everything clean. This Brianna, I'm from Goulds, do you know what I mean?
Coalition was established in 1982. I became principal of Pine Villa Elementary School. Before that, I served as principal of Gulfstream Elementary School, which is in the Cutler Bay area, and that's where the Goulds Coalition started. Just for information, we are the oldest community-based organization in the Goulds area. That was some 25 years ago. It was started basically to assist children in their academics and their personal problems that they were having to be successful in school. And since the founding of it, we have spread our wings from working with children in schools to community issues that have come to rest at our doorstep.
College Square represented what was known as the other side of the tracks for most African Americans being brought up in Goulds. Over the years, it has now been fashioned into a lovely and quaint section of shops used by both tourists and locals for shopping and dining, while retaining much of its Old South flavor.
Hi, my name is Kate Whitty, and I'm the Executive Director of the Elijah Network. We are also the lead agency for the Child Murder Violence Prevention Project called Shoot for Peace. And we're looking at preventing violence in this area. One of the things that we want is to let the kids here have a record of how rich their history is, how beautiful and brave the pioneers were here. It's just rich, full of lives, full of people's treasures, and children need to know who they are and where they came from, and they need to know why they call their grandparents Grams.
This trend of achievement and citizenship continues today with the involvement of youth in so many civic projects like writing and recording positive songs to use in this video. It is important that youth remember their history, especially in a community as small and tightly knit as Goulds. What remains true in Goulds is the resolve of its people and their quest to inspire and build character in its youth.
It's not a mystery, my history is part of the course that has driven me a dream of being what God has given me. The audacity to pass my goals and all my misery, and now I know who I was and who I'm meant to be. A rapper and actor, a president, make history. And don't forget our names, Akira, and we from CC. Reppin' our hood, cause Goulds has a history.
Goulds Paul, yeah, we making history, and we gon' stand tall like a statue of liberty. It ain't no doubt that we the best. And everybody else, we gon' leave them with regret. Goulds Paul made heroes, yes. You see the essence of my chest, and think to the bone, I ain't got no stress.
And we from CC, reppin' our hood, cause Goulds has a history.
Goulds LDS.
It's our history that lets us pass the test.
GOULDS.
Where our people went through help us